Hello, this is Dragon Marine Systems. Welcome to part 4 of this video on how to fix your panel to your boat. This time we are focusing on how to connect the various functions of the panel to the engine on your boat. We are assuming that your panel is attached to the boat and has been secured down, and that the wiring harness has been attached to the boat, and the legs of the wiring harness now lie next to your engine ready for connection. We will approach this by taking one function at a time and then testing that function so that we know everything is okay, working correctly, so that we can move on to the next. So the first thing that we have to do is to get power to the panel. On your Dragon wiring harness, you will find a leg with two wires, one brown and one black. The brown wire has a heavy duty fuse added to it. Both of the wires have a ring terminal. You can pick up power either from the starter motor or you can pick up power from the battery. It doesn't matter which you choose, so you route the leg to whichever part of the engine you want to pick up your power from. Once you've made these connections, you should then go to the panel and turn the ignition on, and hopefully everything will light up. Next, we will want to start the engine. You will find that there is a leg with, in this case, a red and white wire and a purple and yellow wire with two relays. This engine has a preheat function, therefore the second relay. Engines that do not have preheat, direct injection engines or gas engines, will only have a single relay. Both relays have the wire running to the 85 pin. The 86 pin will run to negative. The 30 pin will receive power from the high voltage area, and the 87 pin will take the power to the device. Once more, it is quite normal to take the high voltage feed from the starter motor. The red and white wire is the feed from the starter on the panel. This is used to trip the solenoid on the starter motor. It's advisable to mount this relay as close as possible to the starter motor, making sure that excessive vibration is not where you've mounted it. The purple and yellow wire is going to the heater plug relay. As before, the purple and yellow wire goes to the 85 pin. The 86 pin is used for negative. The 30 pin takes the high current wire in, and the 87 takes the high current wire to the heater plugs. The next functions that we will work on are the alternator functions, those being the tachometer and the charge light. The charge light, sometimes called ignition light, is the green wire with the female spade connector. The tachometer feed is the blue wire with the ring connector. You will see that on the example we are using here, the charge wire is marked IND. This is the spade connector with a red cover. The other two are taking power from the alternator. The tachometer drive is marked W on this alternator and is a pole feed. This arrangement may be different on your alternator. Our next task is to fit the water temperature sensor. This is a dual sensor, sensing both the water temperature for the gauge and the temperature for the warning light. The warning light would be activated at 96 degrees C. The gauge range is from 40 degrees C to 120 degrees C. This sensor is a 3/8 NTP, which is the standard size for the vast majority of engines. We have many other sensors available if yours is not this size. As this sensor performs two functions, there are two spade terminals to connect to. The center one is marked G for the gauge. The one at the top is marked WK for the warning light. As this is a dual function sensor, they do tend to be longer than a single function sensor. The orange wire is feeding the gauge. The white and orange wire is feeding the warning light. The orange wire goes to the upright on the sensor. The sensor is longer because it has both a gauge part and a warning part. Typically, this type of sensor is about a third longer than a normal one. It is important, therefore, to take care when screwing this into the engine, because it may bind on a part within the engine, causing damage. The next function to work on is the oil pressure sensor. This, once more, is a two-part sensor giving both gauge and warning light. Both connections for the oil pressure sensor are ring type and are fixed down by a nut on a pole. These sensors are clearly marked with G for gauge and WK for warning light. The leg for oil pressure has two wires within it, one being white, one being blue with a white stripe, and both have a ring terminal on the end. Typically, the sensor provided is a 1/8 NTP thread, though once more, if that is not correct for your engine, we have many other sizes available and thread converters. Take care when connecting these up. It doesn't require a great deal of pressure. It is in fact very easy to break these poles off, which renders the oil pressure sensor inoperative. G is for gauge, WK is for the warning light. The final wire may not be used at all on your particular setup. It is the green and blue wire that is used for an engine auto stop system. This may not be fitted to your boat. If you have tested each of these functions as you are going along and sorted out any issues that arise as you go along, we should all be ready to go now. Our final task now is to tune the tachometer so that it works correctly with your engine. You may need to measure the idle speed of your engine unless you already know what the normal RPM is for your engine as it idles. Your tachometer has an adjust button, a small black round rubber button that you push at the base of the tachometer. Please now open the instruction packet again and find the instructions for your tachometer. After reading the instructions closely, you can start the adjustment process for your tachometer. Often you will have to adjust up and then press again for a falling value. Congratulations! Now you have a fully working system. Well done! Thank you for taking the time to work through this video with us. And we hope you have a long and trouble-free service from your instruments.